Hey guys, I did this thing. Check this out. This is the headpiece of my large Trichocereus validus. It had to be cut because it reached the roof, and this was pretty dangerous. I've been thinking about this plant like all summer long. I already started planting this 2 years ago. The plant was repotted like, I don't know, 4 years ago, and from the moment on it was in a huge pot. It stopped flowering. This has been flowering every year until I repotted it. And yeah, what happens usually is that the plant puts all the energy into the root system, because roots are really important in nature. For me as a breeder, I need flowers. I don't need roots. I can't get this thing to reach like gigantic size anyways, you know. I have a greenhouse. I don't have the climate to plant this out. And I don't want to cut holes into my greenhouse. I've seen people suggesting it. I had to save like, I don't know, 3 years for this greenhouse, not cutting holes into it. So yeah, this is the headpiece that I removed. I decided to cut just as much as is needed for it to flower. I'm sure in 2 or 3 years this one will be flowering. And now let's have a look at the base. Optically, it's a downgrade, but yeah, it's just what happens. So this is the spot that, like, the new light that comes in here. Here's the wound. I would just let it heal. I don't care. This is perfect. This is as good as it gets when it's about handling such a huge plant. I was already worried that it might break off during the summer because the head became so heavy, you know, and if this thing falls down in the greenhouse, it smashes everything in its way and probably injures itself too, so that it isn't like usable anymore for rooting or anything. So yeah, I cut it with a big heavy heart, you know. But like I said, a plant that is not flowering, that only grows bigger and bigger, is of no use for me. Here are the flower buds where it flowered in the last years. And now it has grown like, I don't know, 1.5 meter within just a few years. This plant has grown incredibly. And it reached like the roof, like the end of my greenhouse here. And yeah, over winter it would have started pressing against the roof, and you can't cut in winter. It's super risky. Like, very often you get a fungal infection that just happens, that just comes up within a day or two. And yeah, now this plant has time to heal over the winter, over the rest of the summer. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. I wrapped it around in a blanket, something like that, and then cut it and slowly moved it outside. Couldn't have been better, because, you know, my muscles don't work right. So this was a lot of concern for me. I was making a plan to do this like all summer long, and now that it's done, I feel like Frodo in that meme. Like, it's done, you know. And I suspect this one will start flowering again within a year. Sometimes they just need a little bit of stress. I understand that like cutting large plants is always sad, but when you are a breeder in a part of the world where you can plant them out, it's just part of your whole operation. It belongs to the whole growing in a greenhouse thing. So yeah, I will put it into full sun, keep it dry, and if there are any problems, I'll take it inside and put it under a lamp, under a UV lamp. But the way it looks like right now from the weather forecast and everything, it should be alright. I just need to be careful that it isn't like injured at the top, you know, so I will probably lay it sideways on top of a crate, something like that, to allow it to, like, for the wound to heal. and after a month I would start rooting it in pure sand, nothing else. And I will keep it completely dry until the end of the year. This thing will not get water now until next year. Because everything else is super risky. Like, you can make a cut, it can even already have small roots, but it still gets an infection. Plants that have no roots are super vulnerable to like root rot at the base. I don't want that to happen. Here's the core, massive thing. I'm really relieved. This was weighing on my conscience for the last month, because I knew it had to be done and I didn't want to do it, and I still didn't want to do it today, but I felt like I need to make the cut now, because the later it gets, the higher the risk for the wound healing, and yeah, that wasn't working for me. So yeah, this is it. Got more light in the greenhouse now. A beautiful plant had to be cut. It breaks my heart, but yeah, it is what it is. It's part of the game. Take care.